Hey guys, Clint Coons here. And have you ever wondered whether or not it's time to set up your own property management company? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you some compelling reasons why you might want to think about setting up a property management entity this year. All right, let's get started. Okay, so if you watch my other videos, when I talk about property management companies and when you should set them up, a lot of times it's driven by tax situations. That is, does it make sense to set up a property management company and upstream income into that corporation or LLC to reduce the taxable income that flows down to you at your individual tax bracket? But I've been thinking about that strategy and I've reconsidered whether or not I think now people should consider setting up a property management entity much sooner in their investing and not consider the tax side right away, but consider the asset protection side. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Let's go over to the whiteboard and map it all out. Okay, so when it comes to setting up a property management LLC, what we're really getting at right here with this is you have some rental property LLCs that you've created. And you have your properties inside of these limited liability companies. And generally speaking, what people will do is they'll collect the rents here, here, and here, and then those rents will flow out to you individually. All right, that's how we run it. Until we start building this out and it starts expanding, we typically don't consider setting up one of these entities up here. I'm just going to call it a PM, your own property management entity, considering setting one of those up. Now, what I'm thinking here, and what I want you to consider is the benefit of using this entity right here when you're managing your own real estate. From a tax standpoint, when you have 2, 3, 8 properties, it may not make a lot of sense because when you look at the income that comes in from these properties and you compare that to the expenses that are going out, the mortgage, there's not a lot of money left over. And so to try to pull income off of you down here and upstream it to here, you find that you end up spending more money than you need to. So here's what I want you to consider. Rather than setting up an entity treated as a corporation that's going to have to file a tax return and again, negate any potential tax benefits you're going to have when your portfolio is small, think in terms of liability concerns. So we'll set up this property management company up here as an LLC. So I'll set it up as a disregarded entity so it does not have to file a tax return. It's a disregarded LLC. That means it's all going to flow down to me. And I'm really not going to be doing any tax planning with this. But what I am going to do is I'm going to have this entity deal with all my tenants. So when this property comes up and I need to rent this property out and this tenant comes along, they're not going to enter into a rental agreement with the LLC that owns the property. In fact, what I'm going to have everyone do is all my tenants will be entering into rental agreements with my property management LLC. Now, by putting this property management LLC in place and having the tenants work directly with this LLC, the first thing it does is it consolidates everything, right? So rather than have to work with 3 separate entities for each tenant, you just have one entity now that is going to be dealing with all of your tenants, which means all the tenant issues. They only deal with this company. They're not dealing with these separate LLCs. So there's an added bonus. But the liability comes in when you think about things that could possibly happen with the property. So if there's any, in this rental agreement here with my tenants, what I would be putting in there are specific clauses that state that any issues the tenants have with the properties themselves, all of that liability runs to the property management entity. So what I'm trying to do is take the liability off the LLC. So if the tenant wants to sue, let's say they find toxic mold in the property. Well, the tenant has already agreed in their rental agreement that any claim stemming from the property itself will run to the property management entity and they'll hold these LLCs down here harmless in the event of that type of litigation. So by consolidating it up here, obviously my property management LLC, it doesn't have a lot of assets. So I'm trying to keep that liability off the individual real estate and isolate it up here into an entity that if I had to bankrupt it and dissolve it out, that there wouldn't be anything up here that I would risk losing. So using a property management LLC, I think ups your game a bit when it comes to asset protection to get that liability off of your property LLC so you don't have a claim hitting them and push it more up to the property management because the contract, remember the rental agreement runs between the tenant and this LLC. Now, if you're wondering what's going on down here, Well, these entities down here, you're going to have an agreement between each LLC and your property management LLC, of which the property manager will take care of renting out these properties, putting the tenants into place. And I would use this same strategy if you're using short-term rentals, if you're working on Airbnb. Again, structure it the same way so that the actual property holding LLCs are not working with the tenants directly. You've isolated that activity all up there at that management arm. You know, I've dealt with quite a few people that have been involved in litigation over their properties, and one common theme that seems to come up more and more is that when you don't have this entity in place, those lawsuits run directly to the property owners. Hey, I want to get that off my property. I don't want to have my property drug into a lawsuit. One way to do that is consider setting up a property management limited liability company. Hey guys, if you got a lot out of this video, be sure to hit the like button. And if you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, well, now's your opportunity to subscribe. And if you want to learn more about asset protection planning for your real estate investing, I would like to invite you to join me at my live tax and asset protection workshop that I teach on Saturdays. It's a one-day event. It's completely free for you to attend. And the best part about that event when you attend that is not only will I be discussing rental real estate, how to use various strategies to protect it, we're also going to show you how to save on taxes with your investing. And more importantly, I bring a team of professionals with me. That is, you'll have CPAs and attorneys that'll be there on this live streaming event to answer your questions to make everything I'm saying relevant to you. Look forward to seeing you there.